Hey lovelies, Esther here, the tarot reader formerly known as Lisa, with wet hair. My hair's wet because when I come home from the hospital, the first thing I do is jump in the shower and take off my clothes and put them in the washing machine. So coming back from the hospital is a bit like returning from Chernobyl. And this is true even though here in Oregon, especially in my county, Lane County, we've been really, knock wood, we've been really fortunate so far. So there's, maybe 20 patients in the hospital right now with COVID. That's 20 too many, but we've been fortunate. Anyway, so nonetheless, precautions, right? Anyway, I am here tonight not wanting to talk about COVID, wanting to do something I haven't done in ages, a very just simple unboxing video. It's Friday night. I'm working tomorrow, but I had a lovely, lovely day, lovely visits. The weather is mild, and just feeling good. So an unboxing video. This finally arrived, and what this is the Sacra Arcana French edition of the Lumina Tarot. Oops, I just inadvertently hit my meditation bell. Anyway, the Sacra Arcana. It came with. Oh no, that's just a Fnac thing. Fnac is kind of like the big, everything store, like the Waterstones or Barnes and Noble, or what Barnes and Noble once was. And I don't even know, I have never lived in France. I've been to Paris a few times. I did an exchange program as a teenager in Marseille. I've been to Fnac, but I don't know if it's, those of you who are European, you'll probably know this so much faster than I. Is it a chain, or is it just the one big store? Anyway, that's not really interesting. What is interesting is Lauren Aletta's Lumina Tarot, the French edition, a mass-produced edition of this deck. Now, I never bought this deck. I've never bought it. The aesthetic of it is so close. Some might say derivative, but so close to the Wild Unknown, which is, I hesitate to call the Wild Unknown my soul deck, but look at that, the Fool's right there. I hesitate to call it, sorry, my light here is not so great, my soul deck, because there are other decks that in many ways reach me more deeply on a consistent basis, but there's some very, very special relationship I have with this deck. This is the mass market edition, the third edition, and an early printing of that, the Harper Elixir, just my favorite version of this deck. I love the Wild Unknown, and so the Lumina Tarot always felt like a kind of aesthetically so similar to the Wild Unknown, but with a lot of very lovely, very white human figures who I don't identify with. It's like, these are not my peeps. These are young and beautiful, and not that I'm old and frugly, but, I'm not young and beautiful. Just a kind of, I don't even know what to say. I think those of you who have this deck or seen this deck may have different thoughts about it. Anyway, so I never bought it. And then seeing Papa Squirrel's video a few months back, his totally vibrant and just packed a huge punch video about the most recent version of this deck. He was really disappointed with its quality. I don't know why that sparked my interest again in the deck. And then seeing a Facebook post that said that the deck was coming out in a French edition. And so I went online and I found it. It was a pre-order. This is a very nice box. This box reminds me a lot of the Wild Unknown box. I'm not a big box person. I always take the decks that I love out of their boxes and get bags for them. Witness my Wild Unknown. But this is a nice, you know, on your shelf kind of hard magnetic box. And then of course there's the chunky guidebook, which is in French. I am not even gonna, it's one of those, it's like sort of superficially feels like a nice book, but I can tell, I don't know if you can hear this, I can tell as I'm opening it that it will, that the way in which the pages are laid in, it won't hold up to really rigorous reading, I don't think. The spine cracking will probably hurt the book. I don't know if the text of this is just a French version of the text in the guidebook that comes with or came with the self-published version. But it's got, you know, full color images. Of course, this deck is largely black and white, but it's got full color images and then nice chunky descriptions. And arcanasakura.com. Okay. And I think this whole thing cost me 33 euros, maybe more than that with shipping from France. Okay, now the deck itself. So the question is, what's the quality of the cardstock going to be like? The box, again, very similar to the Wild Unknowns packaging. Well, to a lot of decks packaging these days. A nice hard box with paper insert and the laid-in ribbon, and then an inner box with quite lovely watercolor splashes on it. And then the cards themselves. In the box, we have another ribbon. Colors are not so true in this video, I think, because I'm filming it under incandescent light. Well, actually, it's a kind of full spectrum light, but it doesn't really give you the full color. This is really a lavender. Let's see. Let's see if that helps. Yeah, that makes a difference actually, to have a little bit less light. And then the cards themselves in shrink wrap, and new tarot smell. You gotta love it. Sorry. I always, when I do unboxings, I always forget to have like the tools to unbox. And mediocre cardstock. It's doesn't seem, slightly glossy, doesn't seem like it has a really great core, feels kind of inexpensive, but it's not bad. It feels similar to maybe a Llewellyn. This is not going to give you the images very well. My sense is that the kind of matte finish, oh yeah, this is not going to give you the images. The matte finish of the self-published edition of the deck, probably the colors are a little bit, a slight gloss on it makes the colors pop a little bit more. Typically, but again, I don't have the original version, so I can't say anything about it. Now, of course, the names of the cards are all in French, but sometimes that's really easy to decipher, even if you don't speak French. And of course, the images themselves. Oh, this is just a terrible lighting. But I wanted to do this video so badly. All right, I'm not going to go through these cards very much. I'm excited. Uh, I mean, you know, it's an important deck that should be in my collection. Um, and as I'm, it's images like the Queen of Swords, that made me not really ultimately want to buy this deck. I mean, that is a 20 something kind of image for the Queen of Swords. I'm not, when I look at this deck, I feel like I'm not the demographic. Um, but, you know, that's a really beautiful Four of Pentacles. Um, yeah, I'm going to have fun with this deck. And because it is mass marketed, if you live in Europe, this is not very expensive. And new tarot smell. What's not to love? So, the Lumina Tarot, a first glimpse. I'm not even going to call this a walkthrough. This is a first look, a first hint, a first. How does it shuffle? Ooh, their cards are super stiff. Okay, they're super stiff in a way that is not because it's high quality cardstock, but in fact, they chip super easily. So these are not high quality cardstock, but they don't bend the way that Papa Squirrel was worried or concerned about, upset about with the latest self-published version. And the packaging is really nice. So there you go. First look at the Lumina Tarot, French edition. I got it through Fnac. I think you can get it on Amazon Française. And yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad I got it. Will I read with it? Of course. Of course. Will I get a pretty bag for it? Of course. Although this box, in many ways, the box is the nicest part of the packaging. I mean, the inner box. Yeah, Lumina Tarot. The overhand shuffle is quite nice, actually. The cards have that sort of slippy, slight gloss on them. But I love me a good riffle shuffle, and I think the cardstock here, it cuts into your fingers. It's sharp. Yeah. Okay, guys. I don't know if that was at all interesting or helpful, but there you go. Thank you for your practice.